People do irrational things when they're in love, often letting emotions cloud judgment, ignoring red flags, and making choices that defy reason. But would someone really kill for love? The case of Zuzu Verk redefines the meaning of obsession, jealousy, and control. What started as a simple missing persons case soon unraveled into a chilling mystery, one that revealed a terrifying truth hiding in plain sight. Zuzu was a 21-year-old junior at Sul Ross State University in Alpine, Texas. She was ambitious, adventurous, and passionate about conservation biology. She excelled in her studies, making the dean's list, and had big dreams of transferring to Texas A&M University to complete her degree. Beyond academics, Zuzu was a free spirit with a deep love for nature. She wanted to explore the world with a particular fascination for Japan. Her future seemed bright, and she was determined to make her dreams a reality. Her relationship with Robert Fabian was complicated. Robert was 4 years older than Zuzu, known for his charisma and carefree attitude. He had an active social life that Zuzu initially found charming. But beneath the surface, their relationship was volatile. Those closest to Zuzu, especially her mother Lori, saw the warning signs early on. Lori found Robert arrogant and controlling. Her brother Miles also had concerns, believing Robert was manipulative and holding Zuzu back from her ambitions. The relationship was on again, off again, filled with breakups and reconciliations. Zuzu confided in her mother that she didn't see Robert as someone she could spend the rest of her life with. It was more of a convenient arrangement, and she knew it wasn't meant to last. By October 2016, Zuzu had made up her mind. She was ready to move on. She was going to tell Robert that she had been accepted to Texas A&M and that their relationship was over. On October 11, 2016, Zuzu spoke to her mother on the phone. She shared that Robert had invited her over for dinner and a movie, and she planned to finally break things off. That was the last time anyone ever heard from her. Days passed with no response from Zuzu. Her parents, Lori and Glenn, knew something was wrong. Their daughter never ignored their calls. Then she missed an important exam, something completely out of character. Lori sent a desperate text. "Please tell us you're alive." No response. Concerned, Lori reached out to Robert. He told her he hadn't seen Zuzu that day and was giving her space. But as more days passed, it became clear that something was terribly wrong. Eventually, Robert called the authorities himself to request a wellness check at Zuzu's residence. On October 14th, Zuzu was officially reported missing. When Robert was questioned, he claimed that Zuzu had left his apartment around 2:30 or 3 a.m. after an argument about his ex-girlfriend. He insisted he had tried to call her, but decided to give her space when she didn't respond. His story, however, quickly fell apart. Robert's downstairs neighbor, John Franco, provided a key piece of evidence. He remembered seeing Zuzu arrive at Robert's apartment that night. At first, everything seemed normal. He could hear the sounds of dinner, conversation, and laughter. But then he distinctly recalled hearing a loud, aggressive "shut up." That was the last sound he heard from Zuzu. Later, at around 4 a.m., John saw Robert leaving his apartment alone. Zuzu's car was still parked outside. If she had really stormed out hours earlier, where did she go? Investigators searched Robert's apartment and found alarming evidence. The bed was stripped of its sheets. There were bleach-stained items in the laundry. The apartment was eerily empty, as if someone had attempted to scrub away all traces of what had happened that night. A deeper investigation into Robert's phone records revealed another lead at 3:15 a.m. Right around the time Zuzu had supposedly left, Robert had made a call. That call was to his best friend, Chris Estrada. Chris and Robert had been friends since high school and remained close. When police questioned Chris, he admitted that Robert had borrowed his credit card on October 12th, the day after Zuzu disappeared. Robert had used it to purchase a plastic painter's drop cloth from Dollar General. When asked why, Robert claimed he needed it to paint a table at 3 a.m. The story made no sense. Another witness, a woman named Brittany, came forward with more unsettling details. On October 13th, Chris showed up at her apartment, looking visibly shaken and nervous. When she asked what was wrong, he refused to explain, saying, "I don't want to get you involved." With mounting evidence, the investigation intensified. Zuzu's family held press conferences, raised reward money, and pleaded for information. A $100,000 reward was offered for any leads, but as weeks turned into months, hope of finding Zuzu alive dwindled. Then, on February 3, 2017, exactly 3 months after Zuzu vanished, a Border Patrol agent named Jared Mayard made a horrifying discovery. While driving through a remote area near Alpine, he spotted something unusual in a ditch, a disturbed patch of dirt with plastic sticking out. Upon closer inspection, he found a single blue sock and a piece of black fabric. Realizing the potential significance, he called the authorities. Investigators arrived and unearthed a shallow grave. Inside, wrapped in a plastic painter's dropcloth, was the body of Zuzu Verk. She had been strangled to death. The plastic matched the exact type Robert had purchased. Within 24 hours of the discovery, Robert Fabian was arrested and charged with tampering with evidence and concealing a body. 2 days later, Chris Estrada was arrested in Phoenix, Arizona, on the same charges. During the trial, Chris testified against Robert, revealing chilling details of what had happened. According to him, Robert had called him in a panic, saying that things with Zuzu had escalated and that he had strangled her. At first, Robert tried to perform CPR, but it was too late. Instead of calling for help, he went into survival mode, desperately trying to figure out how to cover his tracks. Chris admitted that Robert had asked for help disposing of Zuzu's body, but he refused. Still, Chris never reported what he knew, delaying the investigation and causing Zuzu's family months of anguish. A shocking claim also surfaced during the trial. A former cellmate of Robert's, Roy Roman, testified that Robert had admitted to killing Zuzu because she had discovered a secret relationship between him and Chris. According to Roy, Zuzu had threatened to expose them, and Robert saw no other option but to silence her permanently. Whether this was the real motive or just another lie, only Robert knows the truth. After 5 hours of jury deliberation, on May 8, 2019, Robert Fabian was found guilty of murder and sentenced to life in prison, with an additional 29 years for tampering with evidence. Chris Estrada received a far more lenient sentence, 42 months in prison, just over 3 years. Shortly after Zuzu's disappearance, her parents received a letter from Texas A&M University. Their daughter had been accepted. Her dream had come true, but she was no longer alive to see it. To honor her memory, Sul Ross State University renamed its amphitheater Zuzu's Place. Her family, devastated by the loss, continues to keep her memory alive, reminding others to recognize the warning signs of toxic relationships before it's too late. Zuzu had her whole life ahead of her. She was so close to escaping Robert's grasp and reclaiming her freedom. But in the end, she didn't make it out in time. If you found this case compelling, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a deep dive into another true crime story. Your support helps keep victims' stories alive and spreads awareness about these tragic cases. Stay safe.